Have you ever stopped to think that our bodies might be, well, a living, breathing map of the cosmos? It's an incredible idea, but for centuries, ancient astrologers believed exactly that every single part of us, from our heart right down to our teeth, is directly connected to the planets up there. So let's dive into this fascinating belief system.
Okay, let's start with something you can check right now. Have you ever really thought about the moles on your body? I mean, we all have them, but according to this ancient way of thinking, they are not random at all. Nope, they might just be secret messages from the stars.
And here it is, the central idea from our source material. Astrologers actually propose that these marks, these moles, are signs of where the planets were at the very moment you were born. And this isn't just about your personality or your horoscope, we're talking about your physical self.
And that leads us to our first big concept, this idea of the human body as a literal cosmic map, where planets have direct control over our anatomy. The basic principle here is as simple as it is profound. Every single piece of you is believed to be under the direct influence of a specific planet. It's a system where your body is basically a mirror of the entire solar system.
So you're probably wondering, how does this map even work? You know, which planet is in charge of which part of you? Let's break down this celestial anatomy lesson.
We're going to start with the two big ones, the sun and the moon. The sun, which is all about vitality, is said to govern the very core of who we are, the heart, the arteries pumping life through us, and the right eye. And on the flip side, you've got the moon, which is connected to our inner world. It rules the brain, the stomach, and the left eye. What's really cool here is that beautiful symmetry. The sun gets the right eye, and the moon gets the left. It's like a perfect celestial balance right there in our own bodies.
Now let's move on to the giants, Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter, known as the Great Expander in astrology, is believed to govern the soft, vital parts of us. You know, the things that grow and sustain us, like our blood, lungs, and muscles. But in contrast, you have Saturn, the planet of structure and limits. So fittingly, it rules the hard framework that holds us all together, the skeleton, our teeth, and our legs.
Next up, we've got Mars and Mercury. Mars, the planet of raw energy and action, is said to govern some core functions like the bladder and also the left ear. Then you have Mercury, the swift messenger, and as you might guess, it controls all the parts we use for communication and getting around, our hands, our feet, the tongue, and the entire nervous system that wires it all together.
And finally, there's Venus. It's associated with beauty and connection, so it's said to rule the throat, which gives us our voice, the lower back, and the organs that distinguish the genders. So there you have it, our complete anatomical map of the solar system. But what happens when these planetary influences go a little haywire? You see, this system wasn't just some abstract chart. For centuries, it was actually a diagnostic tool. It extends directly into pathology. The logic is pretty simple. If a planet rules a part of your body, it's also seen as the source of any sickness in that area when its influence turns negative.
So let's start with Jupiter. When its expansive influence is considered harmful, it's linked to problems in the very areas it governs. So this could show up as blood disorders, convulsions, and even really disorienting things like vertigo or the painful inflammation of gout.
Saturn's influence is seen as pretty serious. It's linked to things like paralysis, toothaches, and even cancer. But here's a really fascinating detail. It's also thought to grant a long life, which the text calls a doubtful blessing. It seems to be saying that a long life isn't always a healthy one, which really makes you think.
And this shows just how specific this system can get. For example, both the Sun and Mars are said to cause fevers, but they're not the same. A fever from the Sun might cause fainting, while a fever from Mars is described as malignant, way more severe.
And beyond those really bad fevers, the fiery influence of Mars is also blamed for inflammation, jaundice, and kidney problems. And notice how it connects right back to anatomy. It's also linked to deafness in the left ear, the very ear it's said to rule.
Now, what about the mind and nerves? Well, the moon, as the ruler of the brain and stomach, gets linked to epilepsy and indigestion. Meanwhile, Mercury, in charge of the nervous system, is tied to mental illness, delusions, and what the source bluntly calls madness.
And to round out our list of cosmic sicknesses, we go back to Venus. When its influence is out of whack, it's linked to diphtheria, that's a throat condition, as well as vascular diseases and, unsurprisingly, any illnesses that affect the gender-specific organs it governs.
So, okay, after mapping our whole body and all its potential problems across the solar system, where does that leave us? Let's try to bring all these ideas together. The most important takeaway is this. According to this ancient astrological belief, our bodies aren't separate from the universe. They're a direct reflection of it. They're a microcosm, where our physical health is seen as being completely tied to the influence of the planets.
And that brings us to one final thought. Whether you see this as profound, ancient wisdom or just fascinating folklore, it leaves us with a really provocative question. What would it mean to you, personally, if our health, our very physical bodies, could actually be written in the stars?